Hello, I'm Brian Skinner with InformedEntrepreneur.com. I'm here today with Robert Landino, the CEO of Centerplan Construction in Middletown, Connecticut.
Hi Brian, how are you? Nice to see you.
Appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Great.
We're doing a series on the local Inc. 5000 winners in the state of Connecticut. You finished 101 on the list, but recently updated to 100 nationally of the fastest growing companies in America, growing your business by 3,462% over the last 3 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started into Centerplan?
Sure, Brian. Background is I'm a civil engineer by education and started an engineering firm that began in 1987 called BL Companies, which is currently in Meriden, Connecticut, and is an ESOP run by a group of employees that are doing a great job. The company grew over time and actually catered to land development and infrastructure planning and design throughout New England and then ultimately Eastern United States. I sold the company to employees, as I said, about 9 years ago and started Centerplan and used my background in construction and engineering as kind of a springboard to understand the ways in which we could build a company and be successful.
So growing a construction company by that amount over this economic cycle with everything you hear about what's going on in construction, it's pretty phenomenal. What types of projects does Centerplan focus on?
So we look at growth markets and we look at building relationships, strategic alliances particularly, that allow us to not necessarily compete in a way that other construction companies are required to compete to get revenue opportunities. So in our case, we focus on renewable energy, public infrastructure in a very unique way, and land development in the spaces of healthcare and other growth segments of the economy. And we built our own pipeline. We built our own pipeline with projects that we either partially own or that we put together and assemble investors. And by doing so, we are able to control the selection of our business as the primary builder of those facilities.
Would you say the majority of your customers are private enterprises, or is it more government contracts?
It's all private, pretty much. We have some private-public work going on right now, but in the renewable energy space, we do indirectly work for towns and cities, but our contract is actually with our own renewable energy company that's run by some young folks that are doing a great job.
Okay. What do you think was your biggest obstacle these last 3 years in growing Centerplan?
The economy predominantly held us back to the extent that it could. Margins in the competitive industry are very slim, if in fact non-existent. And so there's quite a number of subcontractors and others that are struggling. Yeah. As a result, they're not able to maybe work at the level of quality that they historically have performed at.
Yep.
And they're financially they're thin and sometimes not stable. So sorting through that and building relationships with quality subcontractors and managing through an economy that had probably reached its low point in 2009 was our single biggest challenge.
Would you say the majority of your projects and your customers are local in Connecticut, or you work in a broader region?
We work in southern New England as a sweet spot, but throughout New England and the mid-Atlantic states is our reach. So we've gone as far south as New Jersey, close to the Philly border, as far north as Maine and the northern reaches of Vermont. But if you looked at a cross-section of our work in the kind of the center of our activity, it's mostly in southern New England, western Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and of course Connecticut.
Considering the growth you've had in your company, in this environment, would you say that the economic situation over the last 5 years has made your industry more or less competitive?
And the industry is hyper-competitive because of a declining economy. Whenever there's a competitive bid opportunity, the margins are not actually measurable. Most contractors that now compete for jobs are doing so at a starting point with a zero margin, and then hope to gain some revenue or net income from a change orders in other ways that typically occur through a job, which makes their relationship with clients difficult. We've always decided to kind of take the high road and maintain as ethical a posture as humanly possible, and building a relationship with clients, understanding that when we compete, the margins are going to be significantly less, but at the end of the day, we build a relationship that hopefully helps us in the future.
It's a relationship business.
Every business is a relationship business, right?
It is. Yeah. It is. So it sounds like your focus on up-and-coming sectors and new opportunities seems like it's a different mindset towards construction, identifying projects that maybe is traditional, and that's allowed you to grow the way you have.
I mean, we have a hybrid. We make a commitment to have some small portion of our business be competitive bid, and we work in that space because we need to understand what the industry is doing. And so we see when we succeed or fail, what kind of margin we can build into our competing bids. And we understand the world around us. But at the same time, we know that that's not going to pay the bills or allow us to be as successful as we have been. So we build our own pipeline in a number of ways, and that helps us control our workflow and our profitability.
As an industry, from your vantage point as a CEO of a construction company, what do you see as the biggest challenge moving forward?
I think as we move out of what we all have considered to be a pretty rough 5 or 6 years, I think the biggest challenge is sorting through growth opportunities in a way that allow for margins to become more industry standard with what they historically have been over the past generation. And we still see that not yet happening. We see activity increasing, which is a good sign, but we still see competitors bidding at levels that are not sustainable. So hopefully that the challenge of that will overcome itself as the economy gains some strength and momentum occurs, especially in southern New England.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for the time, Brian.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
making the list. As a Connecticut resident, we need more companies like yourself.
Thank you. Appreciate
or
it.
leaders of companies like yourself, rather.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Brian Skinner with Informed Entrepreneur. Special thank you to Robert Landino, the CEO of Centerplan Construction in Middletown, Connecticut. Thank you.